What's up, everyone? So 10 years ago, that was 2015, I was in one of my last years in the Army. I was doing a lot of racing, and guess what? I broke my foot. That's right. In the middle of a 5K race, my foot became broke. So in this video, I wanted to talk about why did that happen? Why did I break a bone? How could I have prevented it? What did I learn about different things such as mental toughness and how far you can actually push your body with your mind, but also what are the consequences of not listening to your body. So a couple different important topics for this video, and let's dig right into it. So like I said, this was a decade ago. I was a captain in the Army and focusing a lot on my free time on 5K races on the weekend. So basically, I would sign up for these races. Right now, if you guys have been following me, I'm training for the Boston Marathon, trying to qualify for the Boston Marathon. At the time, it was 5K races, so much shorter. But it was another season of just like trying to push as fast as I could. So I would have been about 26 years old at the time. And the fact is, I was doing too many threshold workouts, too many fast runs, too many tempo runs without giving myself enough rest. My typical day, honestly, as I remember, is like I'd be working as an Army officer, and we had a gym on base pretty close to where I worked. And for lunch, I would typically have just enough time to be able to squeeze over, get changed into my PT clothes, hop on the treadmill, and I would just go fast for like 20, 25, sometimes 30 minutes. And I wasn't giving myself a break. I would just get stoked with the progress that I was making because I would just hop on the treadmill, and it was like, it kind of seemed like I was almost indestructible at the time. It's like every day I could just hop on that treadmill and go a little bit faster, a little bit faster, a little bit faster. And I was not heeding this sign because at a certain point, I remember that there was pain in the bottom of my foot. It was my left foot, and I was definitely nervous about it. And it was a sharp pain, to be honest. But I had this race lined up on my schedule. I was going to a local church in Killeen, Texas at the time. And honestly, yeah, I knew that I was probably one of the faster people that could potentially show up to this race. I knew that there was probably going to be some like high school kids and some fast kids that I would be competing against, but it was going to be a smaller scale race, probably about 100 people, maybe even less. So for me, yeah, I wanted to show up. I wanted to do well. I mean, there were ladies at church that I probably wanted to impress, like all those different things, right? This was like a community that I was a part of. So I made it my mission that I was going to show up and I was going to win this race. And the week leading up to this race, I totally had pain on the bottom of my foot. And it was coming from basically just below the metatarsals, and it was a sharp pain. And if I was smart, I would have just scratched the race. I mean, there's always more races, but of course I wasn't. I was stubborn. This one seemed important to me because I was kind of known as like the runner in the church with our like community of friends. So of course I show up, and basically what happens is it was a small field of people, like I said, maybe 50 or 60 runners total. And within that 50 or 60 runners, there was really only a certain amount of people that were actually, that I could assess that would even probably take it pretty seriously. There was a couple of like high school runners that showed up, and I knew that they were probably going to give me a run for my money. And there was one kid in particular, and he looked like he was pretty fast. He certainly turned out to be, pretty quick. And so what happened is I had this pain in my foot, and it would hurt all the time. It was a sharp pain, but it would hurt a lot more when I tried to go fast. So I took us out at a pace where I pretty much went up front, and then I slowed down the pace. So I basically tried to control this race. And then this young high school kid, he sprinted in front of me basically because he's like, why is this guy going so slow? And then I just sprinted in front of him, and it was just excruciating pain to get in front of him. And then I slowed down, and we basically did this back and forth for the entire 5K race. Both of us were neck and neck the entire time, but I was just extremely stubborn. And every single time that he ran in front of me, because I obviously would go slow, I would just pick up the pace again, and I would sprint ahead of him in excruciating pain. We did that probably at least a dozen times until the finish line. I made the final surge and I won the race. And at that point, I knew that something really, really bad happened to my foot. And it's hard for me to even explain this because like when I was doing these surges in this pain, it's like I was able to just mentally get into this race and just focus on only the race. And it was almost like the pain didn't exist to some level. It certainly was there, but I think like the emotions and the drama of trying to win this race and just the adrenaline and everything just like completely took over me. And then as soon as I crossed that finish line, they had like a little award ceremony where they gave me like a little medal for getting first place. After that, I actually remember collapsing on the ground, and I had to have someone like help me to my car, and then I drove to the car. And then it was a similar process at the Darnall Hospital at Fort Hood, where I basically had to stumble into the emergency room and found out that I fractured the 4th metatarsal on my left foot. And then, you know, after talking with the doctors there, and they put a boot on me and everything, they basically assessed the foot, and they were like, you literally turned a stress fracture, a tiny little fracture, a little stress fracture, like a little crack in the bone. I actually turned that into a full-blown fracture, and it's because I ignored that pain. And like I said, I was young, I was motivated, but I was not listening to my body. So here's what I learned out of this. Like I said, you have to listen to your body. When you are in a sharp pain, you feel a sharp pain, not just a discomfort, that is literally your body telling you that you could be injured right now, or you're going to be injured really soon, so you have to stop. If it's a sharp pain, you should probably go see a doctor. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a healthcare provider, so I'm not telling you what you should do, but what I am saying is that if you have a sharp pain, I would recommend seeing a healthcare provider. That's what I did not do. But number 2, what I learned is, and again, this is not necessarily a good thing, but it is something that I learned, is that you can push your body way farther than you think you can. And that's what I did in that race. Like, I had a sharp pain, and I was able to turn that off as if it didn't even matter and run that race. I probably took some ibuprofen as well, but I mean, that only helped so much. Your mind can get you to do incredible things, but you have to be careful about it, because if you don't take care of your body, if you don't do recovery, if you don't have the right food, the right sleep, the right rest, and all these other things, your body at some point can break. And that's what happened to me in 2015. And I thought that this was a timely time for me to put out this video, especially because I started to get some discomfort on the bottom of my feet over the last couple days. So I had to really bring my miles down. I ran about 81 miles over 8 days. That ended about 3 days ago. So now I'm about 3 days into a new week, and my feet have definitely been heavy. I did try to run yesterday. I did go probably a little bit too hard. I'm taking another off day today. Have to listen to it. There's not sharp pain. This is not the same as what I experienced a decade ago from this story, but there is discomfort in my feet, which is pretty normal when you're putting on heavy miles for your feet to get heavy, but you should listen to it. And sometimes I'm not doing a good job about listening to it, so listen to what I say, not always what I do. But right now, I am going to take an off day. I am going to try to listen to it, get some recovery, get some good food into my system. So that's my story for today. And let me know in the comments if you've ever experienced something similar, or how do you feel about recovery, or do you think you should just go hard all the time? Because sometimes I feel like you should just go hard all the time, and I have this mentality that you should just push, but I've learned from personal experience that you have to take care of your body, and your body will break, or it will break you. So I'll catch you guys in the next video.